Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes really ancient source material and tries to make it a clear map for understanding things today. And today we are doing a deep dive into something foundational. It's the genealogical table of Manu's daughters. This comes straight from the Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4. Our mission really is to show you that this isn't just some dusty old list of names. It's actually like an ancient spiritual blueprint. It reveals core principles of morality, creation, cosmic law, really.
Yeah, it's pretty much the family tree of the universe, you could say. We're looking at what the text calls the secondary creation.
Secondary creation.
Right, the initial populating of the universe. This was led by Swayambhuva Manu, he's Brahma's son. And the whole order of life, I mean, right down to virtues being personified, it all stems from his three main daughters, Akuti, Divahuti, and Pursuiti.
And what's really striking right from the start is that the text offers this immediate benefit for you listening before we even, get bogged down in the details. The sources promise that just hearing these stories, these descriptions of Manu's dynasty, if you listen with faith, it actually relieves you of negative contamination right away.
Yeah, promotes piety, helps you on that path towards spiritual understanding. It's quite something. You get a benefit just by tuning in, basically.
Just by paying attention to how the cosmic order is laid out.
Exactly. These narratives are seen as transcendental sound vibrations. When you focus on these foundational stories of righteousness, the effect is purification. It's immediate.
Okay, right. So let's unpack that cosmic order then. Starting with the first daughter, Akuti. Now, her story, it immediately kind of flags something unusual, doesn't it?
It does.
Regarding, traditional family structures. Manu, he already has two sons, Priyavraka and Uttanapada. Powerful sons.
Right.
Yet, when he gives Akuti away in marriage to Prajapati Ruchi, he puts this condition on it. A really extraordinary, almost contractual condition. Why complicate things like that?
Well, it comes down to this specific ancient practice. It's called Putrika Dharma.
Putrika Dharma.
Yeah. And this practice, it dictates that the first son born from that marriage has to be returned to the girl's father for adoption.
Okay. So usually that's for someone with no sons, maybe?
Typically, yeah. It helps a man who doesn't have a male heir. But Manu's reason here was, well, it was bigger, grander. It seems like it was ambition, but based on foresight.
Foresight? How so?
He somehow knew, the text suggests, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself intended to appear through Akuti. So he wanted that divine child, that lineage, to officially be part of his line.
Wow. So he was playing this really high-stakes, long-term spiritual game.
You could say that.
And it paid off. Ruchi and Akuti, they had a son, Yajna, who was a direct incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and a daughter, Dakshina. She was a partial incarnation of Ladam, the goddess of fortune.
Right. And what's so interesting is the simultaneous appearance. You have the Lord Vishnu's form as Yajna and his eternal consort, Lakshmi, as Daya.
Together from birth, essentially.
Exactly. And later, Yajna actually married his sister, Dakshina. This pairing, it's the paradigm, the ideal couple, representing Lakshmi Narayan.
Which, that brings up a really powerful practical point for, anyone listening who's in a partnership today. What does that perfection of Yajna and Dakshina teach us about our own relationships?
Well, the sources are very clear on this. They state that when a husband and wife are mutually satisfied, meaning they align their goals spiritually and materially, they're on the same page. When that happens, all material opulence, good children, it's all automatically present. Their agreement, their lack of disagreement, it actually invites good fortune.
So it's the harmony itself that draws prosperity.
Precisely. The union of Yajna and Dakshina, it confirms that spiritual integrity, that purity in the household. It's the foundation for both leadership in a wider sense and, personal prosperity.
That link between deep spiritual integrity and leadership, that leads us perfectly into the next lineage, doesn't it?
It does.
That focus on divine potential brings us to Manu's second daughter, Divahuti, and the extreme devotion you see in her line, particularly through her daughter, Anasuya, who married Atri Muni.
Ah, yes. Atri Muni.
Tell us about his penance. The scale of it is it's almost unbelievable.
It really is staggering. He was commanded, like others, to help populate the universe. So Atri Muni and his wife, Anasuya, they went to the Akka Mountain Valley.
Okay.
And there, he focused his mind completely. Using yogic breathing techniques, he stood on one leg only.
One leg.
For 100 years, eating nothing but air.
100 years. Standing, just wow. I mean, I find it hard to stand still for 5 minutes sometimes. It's difficult to grasp that kind of control, physical and mental.
It's an extraordinary act of austerity. It was all about achieving the stability of consciousness needed for creation, for fulfilling that duty.
So while he's doing this immense penance, who was he actually praying to? Did he, like, call on Shiva or Vishnu specifically?
Yeah. And that's the really key part of this story. His prayer wasn't directed at any, specific named god.
No.
No. He simply prayed for a son exactly like the Lord of the universe.
The Lord of the universe, like the overall source.
Exactly. He was concentrating on the absolute source, the power behind creation, maintenance, and destruction, not just one functionary.
Okay, hang on. If he prayed for the general Lord of the universe, why did 3 major deities show up? Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, all at the same time. Can you clarify that a bit?
Now, it's actually a direct teaching moment in the text about the nature of the absolute. The 3 of them, the Trideva, they explained it to him.
What did they say?
They said, look, because you meditated on the Lord of the universe, and because we are all aspects of that one supreme person.
Oh.
Represent the different modes, creation, maintenance, destruction.
Yeah.
Your determination, your intense focus, it would be fulfilled. But through 3 sons, because they are, in essence, one person operating through different potencies.
That makes sense. So the sheer intensity of his focus basically drew this massive, multifaceted response.
You got it.
And those 3 sons were Dattatreya. He was the partial representation of Lord Vishnu, the super soul aspect.
Right.
Then Durvasa, representing Lord Shiva's potencies. And Soma, representing Lord Brahma. So the highest spiritual focus yielded the highest possible reward, both materially and spiritually, even though his initial goal, just wanting a son, was technically material.
Exactly right. The divine responds based on the purity, the concentration of consciousness, not just the specific words of the prayer.
Right. Okay, let's shift now to the 3rd foundational lineage. This is Pursuiti, Manu's 3rd daughter. She married Daya. And this line, arguably, this is super relevant for us today.
Oh, definitely.
Because the offspring here aren't exactly people in the same way. They're personified virtues. This gives us a direct moral framework to look at.
Absolutely. Daya and Pursuiti, they had 16 daughters, beautiful daughters, the text says. And 13 of them were married to Dharma.
Who is righteousness personified?
Correct. And this is where you really get the genealogy of peace, as you called it earlier. The text lays out this incredibly clear moral cause and effect. The mother virtue always produces a specific son result. It's like moral physics.
Let's look at some of the really powerful pairings then, because they seem to define the universe as like moral architecture.
Yeah.
We see that Daya, which is compassion, she gave birth to Abhaya, fearlessness.
Yeah. And think about that. That's foundational, isn't it?
Yeah.
When a society is built on compassion, its people are freed from that constant anxiety, that fear. It also says Shanti, that's internal peace. She gave birth to Sukha, which is that lasting happiness or joy.
Peace, the mother of joy. That's simple but profound.
It is.
My favorite, I think, is the connection between Titika, that's tolerance, restraint, and her son, Kama, which means well-being or safety.
Ah, yes.
That equation seems to suggest that real safety, genuine well-being, it can only be cultivated through inner control, through tolerance.
It certainly points that way. It shows the primacy of virtue. You can't get the result without cultivating the cause.
Are there warnings in there too?
Oh, yeah. There are interesting warnings as well. For example, Unnati, that's progress, material advancement, she gave birth to Darpa.
Darpa?
Arrogance. Pride. So it's a caution, unchecked material success, just focusing on progress, it can breed these undesirable spiritual side effects. Pride being a major one.
Okay. And what about Buddhi, intelligence?
Buddhi, intelligence, she gave birth to Artha, which is wealth or maybe better, economic development. So intelligence leads to prosperity.
And what was the ultimate result, the kind of high point of this whole lineage of righteousness?
Well, the ultimate birth came from Murti. She's described as a reservoir of all respectable qualities, just embodies virtue.
Okay.
And she gave birth to Naraya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. This signifies the absolute highest, most positive culmination of living righteously.
And what happened when they appeared?
The effect was immediate and universal. The whole world filled with joy. The air, the rivers, the mountains, everything became pleasant. Everyone's mind just achieved tranquility. It's a confirmation that divine order naturally settles the world when these principles are upheld.
Amazing. Okay, before we wrap up, let's just zoom out a bit. Think about the philosophical takeaway from all these incredible details. We've heard about the vast scale of creation, like Kratu's wife, Kriya, having 60,000 sages.
The Valkyrias, yeah.
Yeah.
Their bodies illuminated by spiritual knowledge.
Incredible. But what's a core concept that helps us understand the nature of this reality itself, all these manifestations?
Well, the demigods' prayers in this section, they offer a really crucial metaphor for reality. They confirm that all the variety we see in the cosmos, it's created by the Lord's external energy. It's called Maya.
Maya.
And this energy, Maya, it's situated in the Lord, but distinct. The metaphor used is as the air and clouds are situated in space.
Okay, so if I'm getting this right, it's like saying the physical world, it isn't an illusion, like it doesn't exist at all, but maybe more like a realistic but temporary simulation, running on the Lord's hardware, so to speak.
That's a decent analogy, yeah.
It's a factual reflection, maybe. Not totally false, just not permanent.
Exactly. It's temporary, but it is real while it lasts.
Mm-hmm.
And the usefulness, the utility of studying this whole lineage, it comes down to applying these ideas. The text even connects it back to the story just before this, the story of the King Puranjana.
Right. That was a story where the king was incredibly attached, wasn't he?
Yes. Deeply, intensely attached to material desires, and specifically in his case, to his wife, his spouse. And that attachment dictated his next body.
How so?
Because Puranjana was so focused on his wife, on his enjoyment with her, right at the moment of death.
Oh?
He was reborn as a woman in his next life.
Wow. That's pretty...
It is. So these genealogical records, they serve as this map, but also a warning. You really need to watch where you put your consciousness, because your future body is literally shaped by your focus at that critical moment of transition.
That's a really powerful consequence of material attachment, and it perfectly shows why this kind of ancient knowledge still matters right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've seen today is that these genealogies, they're way more than just lists. They really are blueprints. Blueprints for moral cause and effect, for cosmic order. They define the pathways to, well, to real prosperity and peace.
Absolutely. And the purpose behind the divine appearing, like as Narayan, just make crystal clear. They appeared specifically to, and I quote, create peace and prosperity, to destroy all calamities of the created world.
Mm-hmm.
This confirms that the solutions to our big global challenges, calamities, war, strife, social imbalance, they don't ultimately lie in just external fixes. They lie in cultivating these divine principles, the ones embodied by the daughters of Dharma. We have to look to the mothers of peace, you see.
The mothers of peace. That's a profound thought to really sit with. Okay, so here's a final, maybe provocative thought for you, our listener, to explore as you continue your own journey with this material.
Okay.
If our sources clearly state that true well-being, true safety thuma, is the sun of tolerance and restraint to come, what does that imply for modern society? Especially when we often try to enforce safety through, say, maximum security measures or zero tolerance policies.
Right.
What might be the unseen consequence, the hidden cost of trying to get the son's safety by bypassing the mother virtue, internal restraint, and tolerance? Something to think about.
A critical question for our times, indeed. Until next time, keep digging deeper into the sources.